I remember the day I approached my master with a heavy heart and an even heavier mind. Restlessness gnawed at my thoughts like a beast in a cage. I bowed respectfully, looked into his calm, unreadable eyes, and asked, "Master, how can I calm my mind?" He paused, his gaze piercing into my soul, but instead of answering, he turned away. "I'm too busy to speak right now," he said coldly. "Go ask your first Dharma brother." A strange chill passed through me. Why would he deny me? I had waited so long to ask that one important question. With a hesitant heart, I made my way to my first Dharma brother. His quarters were dim, and incense filled the air with a strange, almost suffocating scent. I found him lying on his mat, his brow furrowed. Before I could speak, he groaned and clutched his forehead. "I have a terrible headache," he muttered. "Now isn't a good time. Try speaking to the second Dharma brother." His words felt dismissive, even rehearsed. I nodded slowly, though confusion and doubt were already creeping in. Why was everyone avoiding my question? Was this some sort of test? I didn't waste time. The second Dharma brother lived further down the mountain path, beneath the shadow of an ancient tree said to have seen 1,000 storms. I knocked gently, then stepped inside. His face was pale, and he clutched his stomach in visible discomfort. "Not now," he gasped. "My stomach aches like fire. Go back. Speak with the master." This couldn't be coincidence. 3 rejections in one day, each wrapped in personal pain. My question, so simple, so honest, had now become a puzzle wrapped in silence. I turned around, more lost than I had been before I asked. The walk back to the master's hut felt longer than before. My thoughts spun. Were they hiding something? Was the answer dangerous? Or was there no answer at all? I reached the top and stood once again before my master. His back was turned, staring out at the fog-covered valley. "They didn't tell me anything," I cried. "Nobody gave me an answer. Why is no one helping me?" His shoulders tensed. Then slowly he turned to face me. His expression was neither angry nor sad. It was something far deeper, a kind of quiet disappointment that cut like a knife. "You really are a fool," he said, not cruelly, but with the firm clarity of a thunderclap. "They all gave you the answer." My breath caught in my throat. What was he saying? My heart pounded as I tried to recall every detail. The headache, the stomach ache, the rejections. Each moment I thought I was being turned away. Was that the teaching itself? A strange warmth pulsed through my chest, like a light flickering to life in a dark room. I didn't speak. I couldn't. I just stood there, letting the weight of his words unravel inside me. As the wind whispered through the trees, I began to realize no one can calm your mind for you. That journey begins and ends within. Each of my brothers in their pain was showing me the mirror of my own inner chaos. I had been looking outward for peace, seeking wisdom in others when the silence I feared was the very answer I needed to embrace. Every dismissal was a lesson. Every ache, every delay, was the universe urging me inward. I felt my knees grow weak as this understanding settled deep into my soul. I walked away from the master's hut that evening without another word. But everything had changed. The mountain looked different, less foreboding, more alive. I could hear the breeze for the first time, not just feel it. My heartbeat, once rapid with frustration, now beat in rhythm with the earth beneath my feet. I wasn't enlightened, not yet, but I had taken my first real step. Not the one where I ask questions, but the one where I stop expecting someone else to answer them. I was beginning to see the question itself was part of the journey. That night, I sat under the ancient tree near the second Dharma brother's hut. The stars blinked above me, silent and wise. I closed my eyes and thought, not about calming my mind, but about hearing it, about listening to the chaos without judgment. I didn't push away my worries, nor did I cling to fleeting moments of peace. I let it all come and go like waves, and somewhere between breath and thought, I found something small but undeniable. A stillness that had always been there, waiting beneath the noise. I didn't reach it, I remembered it. I thought about how often we look outside ourselves, believing others hold the keys to our serenity. Teachers, friends, lovers, we chase their advice like lost children, hoping someone else will guide us home. But no one walks your path. No one hears the thoughts in your head at night. The truth is, the answers we seek are already written into the fabric of our being, like seeds waiting for the right moment to bloom. My journey had always been inward. The master knew this. That's why he didn't answer me. He knew I had to find the silence myself. As dawn broke, bathing the world in gold, I stood and felt no need to rush anywhere. I had nothing to prove. The urgency that once consumed me had melted away. My mind wasn't perfectly calm, but it no longer scared me. I had befriended its wildness, learned to sit beside the storm without demanding sunshine. The real path wasn't about silencing the mind, but learning to walk with it, hand in hand, like companions in a great mystery. And in that understanding, I felt a peace far deeper than anything words could give me. In the days that followed, I stopped asking questions aloud. Instead, I observed my thoughts, my reactions, my urges to seek external validation. I noticed how my mind constantly searched for escape, distractions, reassurances, signs. But when I gave it silence, it resisted. It screamed. It pushed. And eventually, it softened. I began to see that the chaos wasn't the enemy. It was a doorway. Every fear, every doubt was a key. I just hadn't known how to turn it. And so I began walking inward, step by step, breath by breath, into the places I used to avoid the most. One evening, as a storm gathered over the hills, I sat alone in the courtyard, rain beginning to fall. Thunder cracked like the sky was breaking open. But I didn't move. I let the storm touch me, soaking my robes, baptizing me in its raw honesty. And in that violent stillness, I realized something that shifted my soul. I had always been waiting for the perfect moment, the right conditions, the quiet day. But peace doesn't arrive when the world is silent. It arrives when you stop running. I smiled through the rain. I wasn't running anymore. The master watched me from afar that night. He said nothing, but I felt his gaze like a flame in the darkness. There was no pride in his eyes, no approval, just a quiet recognition. I finally understood that true teaching doesn't come from words. It comes from the spaces in between, from the pauses, from the discomfort. The silence was his lesson. He never abandoned me. He simply refused to rob me of the experience. Growth, after all, is never gifted. It is earned. And pain, confusion, and loneliness, they are the tools that carve clarity from within. Weeks passed. My fellow disciples noticed the change. I spoke less, but I saw more. I moved slower, but with intention. My mind still wandered, but now I followed it without judgment, and in doing so, it stopped running from itself. I stopped needing to fight it. I began teaching myself, not through books or lectures, but by witnessing my own reactions. Fear no longer startled me. Doubt no longer paralyzed me. I welcomed them as visitors, curious to hear what they had to say. And I discovered peace isn't the absence of thought, it's the presence of understanding. Sometimes I returned to that same tree, the one beneath which my second Dharma brother had once groaned in pain. I wondered if his stomachache had been real or part of the master's design. But it didn't matter. The lesson had been delivered. The pain had served its purpose. We often avoid discomfort, assuming it's a sign of wrongness. But what if it's the opposite? What if pain is the mind's way of signaling transformation? Under that tree, I embraced the discomfort. I welcomed every ache, every emotional storm as a teacher, and in doing so, I grew. I began to feel connected to everything, the wind brushing my cheek, the birds calling at dawn, even the silence between heartbeats. I saw myself in all of it. The outer world mirrored the inner one. The still lake reflected not only the trees, but my own awakening. I no longer felt small or separate. I wasn't just a disciple. I was a vessel of awareness, an echo of the universe learning to hear itself. And it wasn't mystical or grand. It was simple, humble, real. Every moment was alive with wisdom if I was willing to stop and listen. One afternoon, a younger disciple approached me. His eyes were frantic, and his voice trembled. "How do I calm my mind?" he asked. The question hit me like lightning, the same question I had once asked. I looked at him, not with superiority, but with deep empathy. I almost said something, almost gave him the answer he desperately sought. But then I smiled softly and said, "I'm a little busy right now. Maybe ask your Dharma brother." And as he turned to leave, confused and frustrated, I saw myself in him. The cycle would continue, the lesson would live on. That night, I found the master meditating near the cliff's edge. I sat beside him silently. The moon was full, casting silver light on the valley below. We didn't speak for a long time. Eventually, I whispered, "Thank you for not answering me." He opened one eye, then smiled, not with pride, but with peace. "It was never my answer to give," he said, and I knew what he meant. Enlightenment doesn't come from receiving wisdom. It comes from realizing it has always been inside you. Hidden, waiting, buried beneath layers of noise, the master had merely uncovered the mirror. Now I walk this path not to find peace, but to remember it, to return to it again and again as life pulls me away. The mind doesn't stay calm forever. It trembles, breaks, races, but now I meet it with compassion, not control. I sit with it. I breathe with it. I no longer fight to silence it. I walk with it as one walks beside an old friend, and each time I forget, I begin again. That is the journey. That is the gift. The mind is not a problem to be solved. It is a mystery to be understood. So if you find yourself restless, searching, questioning, know this: the answer isn't out there. It's not hidden in a guru's words or another person's path. It's not found in stillness forced or in peace demanded. The answer lives in you, in the struggle, in the ache, in the silence that scares you. Trust that. Lean into it. One day, you'll see that every unanswered question was never a denial. It was an invitation to discover that the mind doesn't need to be tamed, only heard, and in hearing it, truly hearing it, you will find everything.